All right, so I'll go ahead and get into it. So this week is all about transitioning and shifting. So also, I have about 8 different things that I'm going to go over. For anyone that doesn't know, I sit down, I talk with the universe, God, my spirit guides, whatever it is you want to believe, and I ask them where are we at right now and what's going on and what do I need to say in this Sunday energy update. And that answer is brought forward, and then I put it down, and then I bring it to you. So that's what I'm doing now. All right, so this week is all about transitioning and shifting. Now, with transitioning and shifting, what I mean by that, or what the universe means by that, is we are in the first of the year. So as the year happens, in the beginning of the year, we enter into a creating area. We enter into a place where our energy is fresh and we are able to move forward in any way that we would like, basically. The end of the year, which just passed, is when we start getting rid of all the negative stuff, all the stuff that we needed to do in that year or needed to shed, or things that relationships that needed to end, and just all that kind of stuff. That happens at the end of the year. And now we're in the beginning of the year. And we are in kind of the first week of the year as well. So at this time, it's a good time for shifting, transitioning, and it would be a really good time for you to sit down and make a list of your intentions for the year. Now, this is something that I think is incredibly powerful for everyone to do. I do it myself. I've already done it. I think I might have done it like at the end of the year before like on New Year's Eve. I think I did it when I was meditating. So anyway, it's a good time for you to set those intentions. So what are your intentions moving forward into the new year? Where are you wanting to go? Even if that's, I'm in a relationship that I'm not really vibing with and I kind of am wanting out of it. Well, let's set that intention that's where you're going this year. Or I'm in a job that I don't really want to be in and I want to shift into a new career. Well, let's set that intention towards moving towards that goal. So when we set that intention, what that does is that sets the energy in motion, and that energy then goes out and it grabs a hold of that future potential of, this is my intention, this is where I want to go, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to be, and it grabs a hold of that. We just have to allow that gap to fill in and render, I guess, like literally like a video game rendering, or a movie or video rendering. That's what it does. It's already there. We're going to render that in and wait for that to come. And eventually we get to that place where we're at. So, good time to do that. And then there is also a huge shift happening right now. And that shift is a shift where we can choose to live in fear, or we can choose to stand tall and move forward in life and not be scared. And that shift is happening. What I mean by shift is it's a place where it's like, hey, if you want to be in fear and live in fear, then that's where you're going to stay at. If you want to be in a better place where it's not all fear all the time, it's not all bad things, well, then you need to stand tall and not be fearful, because what's actually happening this whole year, and maybe even more years into it, but there is going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be testing us on, are we going to stand in fear, or are we going to stand in our own power? And when we stand in our own power as a collective, that does not give power to other things. So anyway, you get to choose. Do you want to live in fear, or do you want to not live in fear? So when the news is telling you all these things to be afraid of, or Facebook or any of that is telling you all these things that you need to be afraid of, it's a good idea to say, you know what? No, I'm not going to live in fear. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to stand tall, and I'm going to move forward. So that is a big thing that is happening right now. And when you choose to live not in fear, it's not like you don't see the bad things. It's just that the bad things, it kind of rolls past you. It's hard to explain. It doesn't get attached to you. You don't get caught up in it, and you're able to live on a much higher vibrational timeline. All right, so this one is really big. So this week is a good time for you to take a raw look at yourself. Now, this is a hard thing to do a lot of the times for many people, but we want to take a hard look at ourselves as if we're just, we're being raw and we're saying, what do I need to change? What do I need to do? Like, what no longer serves me? What is no longer needing to be in my life? And when we take that raw look at ourselves, we start to see things that we need to remove that we're like, crap, I can't do that. That's hard. Or that's going to be uncomfortable for me to do. And I'm not saying that it's not going to be uncomfortable. And I'm also saying, just as another human to another human, just do your best, because I understand it's hard. I'm not going to say you should just get rid of everything, because I understand it's hard. But start working towards it, because right now is a good time, because it is the first of the year as well, but also just in general, to take a look at yourself and just see what needs to change, cycle wise, or personality wise, and so on. What needs to change, and where do we need to go from there? All right, so oh yeah, and we can choose to change however we want. So when we see an aspect of us that we are like, you know what, this is no longer serving me, you have the power to shift that. You have the power to say, this isn't serving me, so I'm going to move into something that is serving me, to something that is going to be good for me. And just understanding that you do have the power to choose where your energy goes. You just have to choose where it goes, set that intent, and then take an action step towards it. So, for example, if you're like, this job is no longer serving me, it's the beginning of the year, I'm in that energy. And this is the thing, I'm not just saying right now is a good time to do all this stuff. I'm saying the energy is right for all of this stuff right now. This isn't just saying, yeah, it's the beginning of the year, we should just do this. That energy is there, and it's supporting you, and it's amplified right now. So it's a good time if you're wanting to switch jobs and you're like, I went out of this job, I want to get a new job. Well, set that intent and then take an action step. An action step could be just looking for new jobs, starting to look for those. And if that's what's meant to happen right this second, a new job's going to fall into your lap. Or you may look and you're going to be, you're going to look and you're going to be like, yeah, I don't see much that I like. And then you're going to say, you know what, maybe I should stay at this job. But in the back of your mind, it's going to be eating at you that, I really feel like I want to get a new job. Like, I really want to transition to a new job. Well, that's when you know that it's something that you need to do. So allow yourself to listen to yourself and set that intent, make that action step, and the universe will make everything else fall into place for you. All right, so this is a kind of a little bit of a random one. When it came to me, I was kind of like, oh, that's odd. That's not what I was expecting. But they were talking about not this whole year, do not give much power to celebrities. And what they mean by this is, when we give celebrities or people and people like famous people, whatever, I don't know what I'm really wanting to say, but when we give people like that our power and we put heavy influence into them and heavy like trust or heavy weight on what they're saying, I guess that would be the best way to say it, is when we put weight on like what Oprah Winfrey's saying, or what someone on the news is saying, or when Beyonce says something, or I don't know, whatever. When we do that, we give them the power. And when I say that, I literally mean like we're taking power from us, we're taking energy from us and giving it to them and taking it away from ourselves. And that makes us to where we're not standing in our power. We're not being brave and strong and unfearful. We are listening to what someone else says, and that's taking the power out of our own hands. So they're saying to not put too much weight into celebrities, because I do think that this whole year there is going to be an influence race or an influence war. Maybe I don't know how to say it, but basically the powers to be are going to be working with those people, the celebrities, as puppets, as they always are, but to try to sway you in many ways, just like they did with the election. I'm not saying either one was the best candidate. I'm not going to get into all that, but I am saying that wherever there's celebrities that are telling us we should do something, I usually tend to steer clear of that, because that is where Celebrities are just puppets to try to influence us, and that's all they are. So, anyway, don't give them the power because it is just not good and it takes power away from you. All right. This is super important. This is something that I used to leave out all the time. And you know, I was, it was one of those things where my teacher told me, like, hey, you need to pat yourself on the back. And I'm like, okay, yeah, good job, whatever. But I didn't really realize how important it is to acknowledge what you have done this past year. Like this week right now, this is a powerful week because it is the beginning of the year. And what we should do is we should take a look on our past year, the good and the bad, and we should acknowledge how far we've came. And it may be like, well, shit, I'm in a crappier situation now than I was a year ago. I didn't accomplish anything, but you did. I promise you, you did. You are working towards whatever it is that is best for you in this life, and that's a good thing. But you're going through the things that you need to go through as a learning experience or as a way to influence you to get to where you need to go or go where you need to go and so on. Just trust that. But right now is a good time for you to look at all the things that you went through last year and all the things that you accomplished last year, all the things that were important to you last year, and just pat yourself on the back and just say, you know what, good job. Like, good job for making it through all the hard things, and also good job for making all these amazing things happen, and just good job in general being you and and doing what you need to do. So don't forget to do that because that is important, and we should do that often in life. We should. It's not, you know, tooting your own horn or being self-centered or anything like that. You should tell yourself good job, and you should be proud of yourself for all the things that you've done. And right now is a good energy to do that in, because when you do that, that brings that I'm worthy and that powerful energy into your energy field. So it's good. You want to do that. Give it a try, and I promise you it'll feel good. All right, a couple more things. So this year is going to be. All right, so this week alone is setting you up for the rest of this year. When you set intent, it's like this week is almost like the calm before the storm. When you set that intent that I was talking about earlier, that gives your energy a base path to go through. And that base path is drawn. Like I said, you set intent and then it's already done in the future. You just have to bridge that gap and it has to fill in and render in. But what's going to happen is over this year, it's going to be hectic. It's going to be crazy. I'm not saying it's going to be like, oh my God, everything's just falling apart. It could be. But what I am saying is life happens and you're going to get busy and you're going to forget all about that intent that you set unless if you read it every day or unless you get to it quicker than we expected and so on. So when you set that intent though, and you properly just or intentionally set that, you sit down and say, I'm setting my intent for this year moving forward. When you do that, that is powerful and that is a roadmap for your energy. So even when you go on autopilot and you start doing all the things in life and you're not really paying attention to that intent that you set, it's still going there because that intention of sitting down and setting those intentions is powerful, and it is acting as a roadmap or a guide for you to get to where you need to go. So setting that intention now is going to help you get to where you need to go even when life gets crazy, because there's going to be a lot of tests this year of of faith. And I mean faith as in I guess faith in God, faith in the universe, faith within ourselves that we do have the power. There's going to be a big drawing or a big comeback of standing in our own power and getting rid of fear. That's going to be a big thing this year, and there's going to be a big turning point with that. So anyway, one other thing I want to talk or I want to say about this year is that um, you are going to be pushed. Everyone, literally everyone, is going to be pushed. It's almost like you're a bird in a nest, and the mother pushes you out, and you're like, oh shit, I'm falling, I'm dying. And then all of a sudden you're like, hold on, I'm flying. This was awesome. But at first it was scary and it was terrible. That's what's going to happen. And it's already starting to happen. We are going to be pushed out into a area of uncomfort, place where we're uncomfortable, and it's going to feel scary. It's going to feel like we don't know what the heck's happening, but we're going to land in a really nice place. And before we know it, we're going to be flying, we're going to be soaring, and everything's going to be really, really good. So prepare for that and remember all the stuff that I just said. This week is probably going to be a little bit of a different energy update than I'm going to give each week just because this is the first week of the year. And when it's the first week of the year, it's super powerful energies of moving forward. So next week will probably be a little bit different of like more specific to that week, or it may be, hey, we're still in this energy, we need to do our reflection, we need to do our intention. I don't know yet until I channel it, but I do want you to know that each week is going to be different, and I'm going to be talking about different stuff. And along with that, you're going to just get a little bit of information about kind of like a spin off for me. It's not just saying this week is going to be about this, this, and this. I'm kind of going in and helping to guide you through that, so that way you're able uh, to move forward through these energies in a nice way instead of not knowing what's going on. Uh, Also, something that came up to me right before this class or this talk is there is going to be a bill or a piece of legislation this week that is passed that is really going to uh, bite that person in the butt. And that is all the information that I could get. I tried to get more, but what I'm getting is that there is going to be something that's going to try to be pushed this week. And I know this is a very general statement. I get it. Like I understand, but this is just what I was given. If there's gonna be something that's gonna try to be pushed or passed or put into place, and it is not going to be it's not gonna work out well. So whatever that is, I don't know. But keep an eye on for it or keep an eye out for it because it's going to be interesting. I know I'm going to be because I think it's always interesting when I'm told something and then seeing what actually happens. So, with that being said, I also wanted to mention that I do have my chakra bonding course that was supposed to start tomorrow, and it's not now because we're getting snowed in. So, it'll be starting next Monday. So, there is still time to get signed up if you would like to join. Reach out if you would like to join. I also put a link in the comments for my online chakra bonding course, which is an amazing course as well. That is in there, and I'm super excited to announce that I am working towards creating almost like an online academy where you can go in to my academy. That's literally what it's called on there is my academy, and I'm going to have all kinds of different stuff on there. Everything from like, well, if you're at a job and you don't want to be at that job and you want to, switch jobs, well, here, go to this class. Or you're in a relationship and you want out of it, here, come to this class. Or my energy feels stuck and I want to get out of it, go to this class. All the way to you want to strengthen your intuition, you want to be able to talk with your guides and so on, well, come to this class. I'm going to do mediumship. There's going to be a class for literally anything that I can come up with, and it's going to be extremely affordable. That's my goal at least because I talk to people and I there's so much I need to tell them or want to teach them, but I just can't in the time that we have. Like if I have a session with someone and then afterwards I feel like I need to teach them how to tap into their intuition. Well, for anybody that knows, that's a long process. That's a process, not a long, but it's there's a lot to it that I can't go into when someone just had a 2 hour session with me. I just can't, there's not enough time. So now I can say, well, look, you can either, come back and we can go through it in person, or you can go for a much lower price and look on at my academy and look at all the different classes. I'm working on one right now. I'm about a week away from completing it, but it is called the Building Your Intuition course or class, one of the two. But I'm going into like everything that I possibly can about intuition, and the class is probably going to be like $40. And that, I mean, it is a long class, meaning not long as in you're going to have to take a long class, meaning there's a ton of material there. You can skip through it and do whatever you want to do because there's no set way to it. But I'm going through all kinds of stuff to help you be able to tap into your intuition. Everything from guided meditations to like guiding you through utilizing a technique to be able to get a result right then and there. Just everything to being able to feel stuff. Just it's going to be really good. So anyway, the whole academy as a whole isn't going to be released for probably another 4 months or so, probably, unless I just really start to bust my butt, which I don't think I want to, but I might. Who knows? But the intuition building one is going to be up, and there's probably 8 lessons. Excuse me, 8 lessons in there, and in each lesson there's 8 chapters. In each chapter there's several lessons, and there's a video attached to each one with subtitles and writing in case you want to read as well. So it's just going to be convenient, cool, and good, and all that awesome stuff. Other than that, I just want to say that I hope everyone's staying safe with the snow and enjoying the snow. We went out, we went sled riding, and it was a good time. And yes, so I will be back here every Sunday. Feel free to come in, stop by, and just take this as like a hanging out kind of time where we're just going to get together. I'm going to share the energy update, and then we can just kind of chat as well. If anybody ever has any questions, feel free to ask any questions, and 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 yeah, we can just chat and hang out because I'm bored. And I haven't been doing a lot at like a lot in person at the center as far as classes and stuff. Uh, I've been in hibernation mode, I think. So I'm at least trying to get on here and have my presence known on here. So with that being said, I am going to read this comment and then comment back on the comment, and then I am going to see if anyone else has any questions, and then I'm going to get off of here. So it says, a wise man once said, to see the person you want to be in your mind and adopt the attitude and feelings of the person you want to be. Do it now, regardless of current situations. I've been doing it and it. Oh, I just skipped ahead. Oh my gosh. All right. And I've been doing it and it is working. My confidence and peace of mind is instantly restored when I catch myself drifting in the wrong direction. I agree. And I think that it's almost like that fake it till you make it kind of thing. You know, like obviously we don't want to fake important things, but you know, you once you create who you are, who you want to be, where you want to go, what you want to do, your energy follows because as I mentioned, I think like 4 times now, when we set a destination for ourselves, we're already there. We just have to render in the rest, and that's literally the way that it is. And I absolutely love that you've been able to benefit from doing that and being in that place because I truly think that when we're confident or when we just act or put in our mind that we are this person, I think our energy starts to huddle around that. It's the same as if there was a study I just heard about. There was a study where they put groups of people together, and in each one of these groups, I forget how many groups there was, they put a negative person in each group, like an intentionally negative person. It wasn't like, hey, you're negative, come on over here and do the study. They put the negative, they said, go in there and be negative. And they did. And they found they had other people that didn't have a negative person. And then they had people that did have a negative person in their group. The people that did have a negative person in their group, it spread throughout the group, and there was much more arguing. There was like 60% less stuff done in that group, and their work was like 35% more crappy than the other. Like basically, it was just, you know, if you put one negative person in a group, they're going to bring the rest of the group down. So, number one, remind yourself to surround yourself with positive people. You don't want to be around negative people all the time. Being around them every once in a while is okay. Put your little bubble up, be your positive self, and and be cool. I also want to say that's I'm not saying that like things don't happen and you're not going to be negative or you're not going to be like down sometimes. That's going to happen. We're human. But we want to get in a place where we bring ourselves back up. We don't just sit in that energy. So then we take that example of, there's one human in a group that brings down the rest of the group. Well, think about those negative thoughts or that negative idea or perception of yourself in your mind. It's going to do nothing but bring your mind down and bring your perception of you down. So when you think of it that way, you want to make sure you're placing good things in there, even if you're a negative, gossiping person. If you put in your mind, you know what, I am a great person and I am positive and I'm going to talk good about everybody. When you put that in there, it starts to branch out and it starts to build energy around it. It may not work the first few times that you try to plant that in there, but eventually it does, and you're not that gossiping, crappy person. And that's just the way that it is. And I think a lot of us have had to come out of that, where we were or a negative person, or we were a gossiper, or whatever. I mean, I know I used to be pretty darn negative. I used to work in a shop with people that did nothing but complain all day about being at work and then complaining about the boss and complaining about their wife and their kids and just all this stuff. And I found myself doing the same thing. So when you get out of that, you start to get in a better place energy wise, and things just seem to start going better for you. So yeah. So I think that's all good. I think we need to just look at it as what are we exposing ourselves to, because literally everything that we absorb as far as what we're taking in with our eyes, our mouth, our senses, so our environment, our food, our TV, our entertainment, our things around us, our environment, just all of that, the people we keep in our lives, it's affecting us. It's affecting our energy. It's not just like, oh, my energy feels icky because that person's around. No, it's affecting your energy in negative ways. And if you're always watching murder mysteries and stuff, which I get it, a lot of people love them. I've never really been a fan of it, but my wife loves it, and many other people love those kind of shows. But I think once you start to pay attention to your energy and your frequency, when you watch one of those shows or you hang around certain people, you start to realize that your energy it's being drawn, it's being lowered, and you have to pay attention to that. So I think just being mindful of all the stuff that we take in is super important. And then on a side note, before I get off here, I know I'm rambling on. Uh, I was just watching a documentary on, I might not say it right, but Ayurvedic medicine. And it's all about, like, we're looking at the food, we're looking at the energy in the body, and there's different types of energy. I know very little about it, but I'm going to learn more about it because I found it very intriguing. But they were just talking about how they treat everything with food, literally everything. And if food isn't helping, like a diet change and environmental change and activity change and all of that doesn't work, then they treat with herbs. And then the herbs can help, and so on. They use herbs as like pills and stuff. And I don't know, I found all of that very, very interesting. And I am thinking about going and seeing an Ayurvedic, and sorry if I'm saying that wrong, doctor, just so I can experience it and see what they have to say, and then maybe look into trying to incorporate that into my practice of what I do and so on. So if you haven't looked into that, look into it. I don't have no clue how to spell it, so good luck. But it's good. It's good. So anyway, I want everyone to come back next Sunday. I want to build a little family of us that just come in and we talk about what's going on this week. I'll be sharing what's going on in my life, and if you feel like you want to share you, that's fine. If not, just come in, hang out, and let's hear what's going on. But anyway, until then, until next week, I'm going to get off here, and I will see you then. Also, actually, now thinking about it, I forget what class it is. Let me look really quick. My next class, it's coming up this week on this Wednesday coming up. And I got to remember what class it is so I can tell you if I can find it. All right. So I believe, yes. So this next class for the Fundamentals of Spirituality series, and I see I have a comment. I'll read that in 1 second. For the Fundamentals of Spirituality series, the next class is going to be this Wednesday coming up at 6 o'clock, I believe, 6 or 6:30. Check the event section, and it's on how to connect to our spirit guides, higher self, and inner child. Super good class. I absolutely love that one. I love them all because I have to, because I made them up, and I think they're all awesome. But come in here and watch that on Wednesday. All right, let's see. So it says Marina says, I have known about Ayurveda for a few years now and know a bit and would love to learn more. Yeah, I like literally, I've heard about it, but I was like, I just was like, oh, whatever. Because when you're in the spiritual realm of things, you hear about all kinds of different things, different practices, different methods, and all that stuff. So I was like, anytime I ever heard it, I'm like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. But when I was watching this thing, the guy was talking about like he was a millionaire at 25, and he was like, I was living this just crazy life of like eating what I want, drinking what I want, staying up as late as I want, doing what I want, just like all that. And ultimately, he found himself like wanting to kill himself and just in bad health, bloated, diarrhea all the time, just heartburn, just feeling terrible all the time. And he, um, long story short, he ended up finding Ayurveda medicine, and he got better. He said he switched his diet and his routine, and he started to get pretty good, but not all the way. And then they threw some herbs in there in the form of like a capsule or something, I think. And his whole life has changed, and he ended up selling his companies and starting fresh. I'm sure he has another company at this point, but like he realized he doesn't need all that, and he was just very unhappy living that carefree lifestyle. So now he eats what he wants to eat. And they were just talking about how we have so many different fad diets. Like we have the carnivore diet, we have vegan, we have the keto, and I don't know, whatever the heck else we have, and they all work. Not all, but so that's the thing. They all work for some people because we're all different, and that's what we have to understand is that like we're not all the same. It's the same as our school system. Like we're not the same. We need different personalized stuff. So they basically you want to understand that like all of those diets aren't going to work for all of us, and usually it's only a short term that it works for. It's not a long term thing to work towards, or it's not a long term thing that works. So finding a good diet it works for short term but not long term. But when you start to just realize, a good example was, and I see your question, I'll answer it in 1 second. I have a good answer to that because I spent a little bit of time researching. Um, a good example is that is when someone's body is feeling hot, like when you feel hot inside, well, you need to eat something to cool that down, which means we're not going to eat chili with peppers in it. We should eat some cucumbers, or we should eat a salad or something. But if you're feeling cold inside and you're feeling like there's not a lot moving, maybe you should eat some chili with some peppers and get that warmth growing within you. So just looking at that, I was like, whoa, that's really cool to think about. And I had heartburn like the day after watching that. I had heartburn real bad, and I went in and I ate some cucumbers, and it soothed that fire inside of me, and I was just like, this is just amazing. So I don't know, look into it, it's really good. So I do see your question, then another comment which I'll read in 1 second. So um, this thing keeps going, it keeps snapping down and not letting me read the comment. All right, so do you have a specialist that you recommend? I actually do. So I've never seen them. um, I was looking on my Google Maps for Ayurveda practitioners or doctors or whatever. And I found the couple and I was like, I clicked on them and it was more like we're a yoga instructor. And it was like, I want someone that's like dedicated to this. Like, this is what they do. And I seen this place in Dayton and my intuition was like, boom, right there. And I was like, no, I'm not driving to Dayton. So I started looking into other things. And later on that night, because I have two kids that run around like maniacs and I can't concentrate on anything until they go to bed, pretty much, they went to bed and I was looking at it and I was drawn to that Dayton one. I was like, you know what? Let's just look and see what they're all about. And it is an Indian woman that has been doing it since, I think she, don't quote me on this, but it's going to be close. I think she said she's been doing it since 2003. She has her own practice. She's booked out for like a month, which is usually a good sign. And she has YouTube videos of like explaining who she is and just all that stuff. So um I looked into that and that's who to go to. I just have not scheduled it yet. I was gonna see if I could find it really quick. Is this it right here? No, that's not it. Yeah, I don't know where the heck it's at. Actually, you know what? This is it. So it's I believe it's it. It's Ayurveda Natural Health Center, and it is in Dayton. It's in Beaver Creek, Ohio. Um, just look that up on you or on Google or whatever. Ayurveda Natural Health Center, and it's I don't know. It looked like it was going to be promising, and yeah, that's it. So anyway, yeah, that's who I have to recommend, and that's who I'm going to go to. I just have not scheduled it yet. And then you say, right, absolutely, we are all different, and different foods work for different people. Yeah, I agree. And that's something that I've kind of known, and I'm sure you knew as well. But then hearing it the way that they were laying it out, I was like, that makes sense. I might have to try to look into that. And then the whole thing is if you go and see a doctor, they do a assessment on you where they are like they look at your tongue, they feel your pulse, but they're not actually just feeling the boom boom boom. They're feeling how strong your pulse is or how much it's flowing, and then they do other tests and they ask you your whole history of everything and how things are for you. And like the whole thing is like an hour to an hour and a half long, and then they say, well, look, where you're at right now, this is your type of energy because they have types of energy that they say you are. This is your type of energy. With your type of energy, you usually do well with blah, blah, blah type of foods or doing exercise in the morning instead of night and, just all that kind of stuff. And I thought it was cool. So yeah, I'm going to try it. Let me know if you do try it, Marina. I would love to hear your experience because I think it's interesting. So, and if you want to find that documentary that I was watching, it's on Gaia. I have no clue what it's called, but it is on the Gaia app, and you can look that up. I'm actually looking to see if I can find it really quick. So it's called The Natural Law. I don't even know. You might be able to see it right there. Let me see. Yeah, there it is. So The Natural Law. My little camera or my light for my camera's getting in the way. That's what it is on there, and not a super big documentary, but it's just a cool one to get you thinking about it. So, I don't know. Look at it. Let me know what you think. But all right. Well, I think that's it. I think I'm going to get off here. This whole thing's going to be on YouTube. If you missed half of it and you want to look back on it, feel free to do so. Again, I will be here Sunday, and you're very welcome, Lisa. Thank you for coming in and chatting. I will be here next Sunday to go through my what's going on for the energy for the week and just to chat. If you have any questions that arise over the next week, save them and ask them here because I want to be able to answer your questions and help you out in any way that I can. All right. I think that's it. All right. You all have a good one. Stay warm. Stay safe. If you go out on the roads today or tomorrow, be safe with all the weather that's coming in. All right. And Marina, I see your comment. I'll comment on it in just a second. Yeah, thank you. Oh, okay, no. I see. Yes, you're very welcome. All right. See you all next time.